So it'll be it'll be your first time here as well.
Okay. Well, why don't we focus on the things that you'd like to get out of this?
Sure, sure. Yeah, so I think obviously the course has been really helpful. I thought I just switched over to a new company not long ago, so I'm had a good timing in terms of getting all this, um, this content and these questions in line early on here. So what I was hoping to do was just really quickly step through what we do with you, kind of give you some context as to what the questions are coming from. And then based on that, I'll take a first pass with the questions and get your feedback, and we go back to the drawing board.
Okay. Have you gone through like defining the problem that you solve?
I have. So can you see my one sheet here I pulled up?
Uh, Let me stop sharing my screen so you can share. Okay, I got you. Yep.
Yep. Okay. So the problem here on the top, I went through the exercises as you described it. Right. So I can let you read or speak to it, what works best.
Okay. Still sounds a little bit like what you do versus what you solve, the massive amount of manual scripting. I was actually on the board of a company that does this.
Interesting.
Stelligent, you ever heard of Stelligent?
I haven't, no.
The continuous
No,
integration.
So this is continuous delivery. So continuous integration is kind of before, so it's related for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So the pain is as you continue to go down here. So companies spend millions of dollars, hundreds of people. Actually, let me scroll down. If you look at the problem statement down here.
Okay.
So essentially, companies have 500 to 500 people that all they do is build this continuous deployment functionality. It's often there's companies up here that spend $20 million a year to do that, and it's still not fast. It's not intelligent. It's still a bottleneck to innovation. So that's the pain. It's
okay.
To your point a little bit earlier, if you look at this picture up here, you have continuous integrations on the front end. Continuous deployment is all this after that.
Okay.
So taking artifact to production.
And how have you started talking to clients or prospects?
I have, yeah. So, it's a well-known problem. It's early on in terms of automating CD. We come at it from a new way that definitely gets people's attention. We use machine learning and AI to automate a lot of the stuff, and then make sure that nothing ever breaks. So it's something that's new in that way.
Okay.
Just closed our Series B yesterday with Google for another 60 million. So we're
wow.
growing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I guess as long as the pain is recognized, that'll work. Sometimes what you have to do is the implications of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if they have enough people and they have enough time, there's no problem.
Yeah. Right. And that is the biggest competitor is like, hey, we've already designated these people, we've already spent this money, but there's pain above and beyond that, right? They still can only move so fast, and things are always breaking, right? So it's certainly not foolproof. Let me keep scrolling. Now, did you read that problem statement part?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so here, how are people solving today? I did a little bit around buyer titles, personas. People come to Harness when. The outcome they get from Harness. Related business value.
And are you getting inbound or are you solely outbound or some mix?
Well, we're both, right? I mean, so right now I'm getting a lot of my stuff outbound. It's a topic people want to discuss and to solve. Um, Again, there's lots of different ways of doing it. So we are educating people as to what this new way is. I also, I've been in the space in other capacities before, so I know it really well. So I have a bit of a head start there in terms of people and getting into these sorts of stakeholders. So yeah, I would say though it's primarily outbound. Outbound.
And have you sold? Who owns this problem? I guess is.
Yeah, it's so it's app dev, software dev, or the kind of the low hanging fruit. In terms of like as it works its way up the chain, the people that are the EB signing off on things are generally the CTO or the VP of app or software dev.
Yeah.
And then influencers are the people that roll up to them. So DevOps, software engineering, app dev, IT ops.
Okay.
Yeah. And I kind of broke it down on personas. There's just these three main categories of where companies coming from. Like they've obviously already started it, and it may not be going so well. They've failed, which is very common as well, and are now looking for the next thing. And then there's about 1 to 2% of people have nailed it with their own manual way, and they've already put years into it.
Okay.
That part makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. All makes sense to me.
Cool. Okay. So if I scroll down to the questions here, I think so for curiosity, right? So one I often like to set the stage with, and it can kind of go in a couple of these different buckets, but what are the 2 to 3 big wins that Harness can help you achieve that are going to make you look good, right? I think it just generally sets the discussion on off on a good foot. Why now for continuous delivery, right? A lot of these people have had these problems for a long time. So it does, why is this now at the top of the heap? A big one for us is how's your team handling? If there's so much change that's going on today in terms of how applications are, people are moving to the cloud, there's microservices, there's all these things. Like, how are you guys doing this manually today?
Yeah.
Usually elicits some sort of good amount of pain and some curiosity.
Yeah, that's where I would start is like, how are you doing it today? And then time travel them into the future about what they're going to run into.
Right.
Either hiring people, delivery schedules, modifications, building their own harness capability.
Yep. Yeah, and a lot of people have done that, and they've now realized, hey, I can't keep doing this, right?
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah.
On the interest building piece here, there's this one slide we use that basically kind of shows, this is just a piece of it, but it basically goes through all the verticals that we address. And I say, hey, if you're looking at this thing like a menu, where would you say your company struggles with the most? What would you order on here to be fixed immediately? It's just kind of kind of an interesting way to have them call out where the pain is.
Yeah. If you were with them, if you could have them draw out how they do it right now and where it breaks.
Yeah.
Where it costs the most amount of time, where it's fragile.
Yep.
That's where you really would get interest and engagement.
Yeah.
Because I think you still, at the interest stage, you still have to talk about the problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Because once you start talking about the product, then they just want to know who you are, what you do, and how much does it cost.
Yep.
What you want to do is talk about the problem and what it costs them to not fix it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I don't know if you can see too on this slide. These are actually they are actually problems, right? That we kind of bucket them, and then on the next slide we say we kind of overlap it with like, here is how our technology solves the problem. Like on here, one of them is cloud and infrastructure provisioning, release strategies, and those little red circles say manual scripting. So it does kind of step through it that way. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Make sure it's fully about the problem here.
Yeah, because once the problem is admitted to, then they're going to flip it to you and say, well, how do you solve it?
Right.
That's
Right.
the signal you've got interest.
Yep.
Otherwise, they might just want an education on harness.
Right. Yep.
Which will give you the feeling they're interested, but maybe that they just want an education.
Right. Right. Yeah, I added a question in here. What's driving the team to finally change now? Right. So, yeah, doing exactly what you just said. So, making sure they're not just kicking the tires and being a compelling technology.
Yeah, and that's what you run into at hot companies like yours. They just want to know, and that's really curiosity. Interest is, I'm in market.
Right.
There's something wrong with my leg. I don't know if I need an aspirin or a splint or an operation.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully the former.
Yeah. But they want just an aspirin.
Right. On the take action piece, so I did just do kind of some high level. Why is this a problem that deserves this attention? The second one kind of addresses our competitors, like in terms of time to value. So if the team is going to use open source or build it themselves, hey, you better start right now because you'll have no shot of having this ready in the next few quarters. Now, if we're talking about harness, we can have this stood up in a day or two. So one of our big compelling components is it's a service, right? It's built. It takes us a couple days to stand it up and prove it out. So that's what I'm getting at there is like, if you're trying to do this fast, there's one way.
Yeah. And I think if you can focus on their deadlines,
yeah,
and then work back, because if their deadline is 6 months, then there's no chance they can build it themselves.
Right. Right.
And I mean, because these questions like commitment and stuff, will vary per call. You probably haven't had time to go through a full deal yet.
Yeah, I just one that was kind of wound up for me, but yeah, not a full cycle. I mean, we have obviously processes that we try and run that aligning it and ensuring it matches what customer wants. Not yet.
And do you have a sense yet of where the deals get stalled?
I mean, not personally yet, but just based on metrics and tracking and word of mouth. It feels like generally, there's a lot of curiosity. I think there's a lot of things that are classified as opportunities, which are really more curiosities, like what is this? They may think it's cool, but there's no real or desire to change at that point, but they kind of get lumped in there. So I think once you get them past, once you get them to take action, we have various POV, proof of value type sales processes. So once they're in that, our close rates are very, very high. So I
Yeah.
think they get stalled out in the front end.
Yeah. So that tells me that these interest building questions are where you want to invest your time.
Yeah.
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 Finding out the implications of their current strategy, and what they care about,
Right.
really personally, how's it impact them when this doesn't scale?
Yep.
Does it interfere with their weekends and their nights and their,
Yeah. It's funny you say that. That actually is a big deal up here in Seattle with the developer community. Lots of burnout.
yeah.
So
Especially nowadays where, you know, there's no office anymore. It's like you're working every day, all day, and you're accessible.
yeah.
So you can if at 2 a.m. it crashes, who's responsible for the wake up call, and
Yeah. Yeah. All that stuff.
that's
So
gets people emotionally attached to it.
yeah, it sure does. And it actually aligns. So one of our unique things is we use machine learning where whenever unsupervised machine learning sees something breaking, it notes it or it flags it, we automatically roll it back to the proper working version so that it never affects production or any of the people that are doing this stuff. So there's kind of a nice story there for those folks.
Yeah. So from what I heard from you, it's like I would really spend my time on this interest building and be sensitive to trying to close for the next action without it really having pure interest.
Yeah. Okay.
Like when they kind of like roll their eyes about, oh God, Sunday night I get a call. I'm trying to watch Game of Thrones and I need to get online, try and figure
I
it
know
out.
how pissed off I'd be. Yeah.
And is there like an analogous technology that kind of is applied to the different stages of the delivery system?
Yeah, I mean there are other things. There's nothing that has kind of that extra intelligence level like the machine learning and
Yeah.
those sort of automatic processes. But there's certainly other people that are trying their hand at this. It's this is kind of the next big wave here in the development side of things. So we expect there'll be much more competition.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now there's no one that's doing it the way we do.
Yeah. So, kind of on the strategy side, I would look for ways of just staying engaged with them.
Yeah.
Maybe a proof of validation or concept or what you call a POV might be too big of a step.
Yeah.
But having them show you their current system and then you guys doing like a workshop or a whiteboard,
Yep.
so they can dig into it a little bit more.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. So I sold stuff like this, to software developers for like 25 years. And the trap is you get stuck educating and free consulting.
Right.
And if there isn't a compelling problem or some champion, it just gets put on the list of nice things to have.
Right. Right.
And that list is pretty long.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So that's where the interest stuff, you got to bubble it up to the top.
Yeah, that's my take too. And I think you got to have it has to be a need to have, as you say, in your various shows. But yeah, exactly. And just getting high quickly and making it either a personal win or a black eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's what they'll care about is their individual. They won't care about price. They say they will, but it won't matter.
Yeah.
They're going to care about quality of life, their career, their marketability, and being able to deliver on time.
Right. Yeah.
And if you can come up like analogies, like you guys are the NetSuite of continuous delivery. You wouldn't put all your accounting in a spreadsheet.
Right.
You come up with an application that's field tested, bulletproof, that hundreds of people have tested before you, instead of you guys jumping out of the plane with the version 1 of the parachute.
Yeah.
Because engineers tend to tinker, right?
Yeah, they sure do.
And the first impulse is, I can write a script to do this. And you can until it doesn't scale and only you know it.
Yep. Yep. That's the other thing I've noticed for people that have built some of this stuff with scripting. You're kind of calling their baby ugly, and they most of the time they get it. They understand, but some people have a hard time letting go of that stuff.
Yeah. But if you do it through analogies, that it was the right thing at the right time. But accountants transition from Excel to an accounting app.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Andre. You said that you get a lot of rejection.
You use a CRM. You don't use a notebook or.
Right. Yeah. That's okay. That's the one resonates with me.
Yeah. It has its trade-offs, but you can't scale a company on a spreadsheet or a notebook.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking what I'll put some more time into this, just to kind of make these more fine-tuned. On the more focused more on the curiosity and interest building, and just making sure there's a real a delineation in terms of required action and next steps.
Yeah. Yeah, because once you get the sense of are they interested versus just curious, that's when you'll have them.
Yeah.
I think too many reps will hear interest when it's really just curiosity.
Right.
And if you can work to build that up, if you want to do a mock sales call, we can do that.
Cool.
Or maybe regroup once you've had enough, time under your belt to see a pattern.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What I think it might be good to do, definitely I'll have a lot of field reps here over the next 30 days. So maybe it makes sense to do something about that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And maybe, talk to the other reps and say, well, where do things get stuck? If the first call goes well, but then they go radio silent, what did they learn that first year?
Right. Right.
That'll save you a lot of time.
Yes. Yeah. And I've already started some of those talks, and I'm sure we'll get in more detail here as, I see stuff in the flesh.
Cool. How big is your patch?
Yeah. So I have the Northwest, so Oregon, Washington, Western Canada. And I've had that for a couple other data companies that were pretty successful. So it's same, a little bit of different types of people, like the types of developers I'm working with are slightly different, but a lot of the same companies.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so I'm excited. It's